Okay, now we're into part two, and I just wanted to comment a little bit on the palette called Paragraph Styles. And one thing is, if you work quite a bit in Photoshop and you're working with a significant amount of text, um, there is an operation in Paragraph Style that will allow you to apply a number of different attributes to a paragraph with just one click. And it's basically done by adding new paragraph styles. And the thing is what you want to remember is before you start anything like this, you're going to want to deselect all layers before you create a new style. And then that way you're not going to be affecting any of the other layers. But I just wanted you to know that that's there, and we'll be discussing this in a little bit more detail. But just wanted to let you know that that application was there. So now we're going to get into creating type on a path. And the nice thing about Photoshop is you can actually create your own paths and go ahead and pick your type tool and actually type right on that path. And basically the letters are perpendicular to the baseline of the path. And if you change the location or shape of the path, the type will actually move along with that. And so for our next activity, we are going to create type on a path to make it look as if questions are coming from the model's mouth. And they've actually created one for you already. And you can see the speech path, and you can see where we have this little path already created coming out of his mouth. And so what they want you to do next is you're going to select the horizontal type tool, which is the first tool in the type tool. And in the options bar, you want to select right align. So right in there, you want to select right align. Now I just kind of goofed up. I'm just going to go Command Z. And I definitely do not want to have my digital text selected. So I'm going to make sure I activate on the model. And then the new text layer will come up there. And so anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go right align. And then in the character panel, I am going to go and select the following. Myriad Pro. And then I'm going to keep a regular font style. And I'm going to make this a 16-point font. And the tracking I'm going to do at a -10. And again, we did that in the last activity. So we're just going to actually make this a -10. And we're going to choose the color white. And as you notice, there's lots of different ways to change the color of the text. I can change it down here on the character palette. I can change it up here in the options panel. I can also go to the foreground color and change it there. Now the other thing too is what I want to do is I'm going to type this out in all caps, and right down in this layer here where I'm moving my arrow over right now, there is a double T, which if I hover over it you can see it's all caps, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then I'm going to move the the text tool over the path, and you notice how it changes. You get kind of that wavy line coming up. And when the small slanted line appears, I'm going to click at the end of the path closest to the model's mouth, okay? So I'm just going to click right in here. And then I'm going to type "What's new with games?" I'm going to go ahead again, "What's new with games?" Okay, and you can see we have the little sentence right here going along this wavy line that's been created with the pen tool. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be actually duplicating these. So I'm going to click the Layers tab to bring it forward. And so we'll go up to here, and we see that we got "What's new with games." I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this one here because I did goof that one up here. So we got "What's new with games" that we want selected. And with the type tool, I'm going to duplicate, first off, I'm going to duplicate this text layer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change the games to music. And then I'm just going to go ahead and now that's been committed, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and I just want to show you what has happened here. If I move this, you can see that what's new with games, I could go ahead in there and hover over it till you see that little square box. When that disappears, that means I can select my text. And we know that we want this one to be music. Okay. And then I'm going to take that layer here and I'm going to go Command T. And I needed to get off the text tool to do that. And I'm just going to rotate it approximately 30 degrees. And you can actually just go right up in here as well, where you've got this box up here, and you could just type in 30 degrees there. And apply it, and now you know that we have what's new with music there. So now I can go back to the what's new with games again and do another duplicate layer. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in phones. Okay, now when I go down here, again, I have another one there, and I am going to take my text tool, and again, see how the box disappears, and I'm just going to type in phones. Now I do see here that they do have question marks here, but I'm not going to worry about that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my move tool just so I can do a Command T or edit free transform. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go minus 30 up in here and apply it. And then I can take this and move it. And I have my different sayings with coming out towards the mouth area there. Okay, so generally, once I have this layer activated with what's new with games, I can go up to the Warp Text tool, bring up the Warp Text box. I can also do that by right-clicking my mouse on that text layer. And what we're going to do is we want to go to the wave text. Okay, and then I'm going to put in a plus 33 in the bend, a minus 23 in the horizontal distortion, and a 5 in the vertical distortion, and then click OK. And you can see how it's made the letters in the beginning larger, and it goes into a smaller asymmetrical look with this text. And so I can do that same thing with the other layers. So I can just go to the new phones, click on the warp text, select the wave, and then again I'm going to be doing a plus 33, a minus 23, and a 5 on this layer, and hit OK. And then I'm going to do the same thing with what's new with music. Click on my warp text, go ahead and click on wave, and again a 33 in the top box, a minus 23 in this box, and a 5 in the vertical distortion. And there you see we have very similar looks to these layers. And the thing is also, again, remember when you're on the move tool and you want to do fine-tune corrections with where you're going to move it, just go ahead and use the up and down arrows, and you can also use the side arrows to move things a little bit closer, depending on the look that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so And you know, you can we'll be getting into designing paragraphs of type next. But I want you to remember too that you have these different guidelines, and what they want you to do right now is bring in another guideline, and you're going to drag the ruler, placing it approximately 1/4 of an inch from the right side of the cover. Okay. And also you're going to drag down and bring a line 2 inches from the bottom. Okay. Now again, if you don't see, it defaults to a cyan color, which may be pretty light, and I don't know if you remember this from our last class, but you can go into preferences and you can actually change the looks, you know, the colors of this. So I can go into the guides and I could change it to a black or a light blue, a light red, just depending on what type of contrast I want with these guidelines. Okay, I am in Photoshop 6 right now, and in Photoshop CC, if I double click on this sticky note icon, the note panel will come up. But I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up from the window panel. And as you can see, we have the note panels all selected here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Command C and copy the notes. And then I'm going to go to my, if you're on the move arrow, you want to make sure you go to the text arrow or the text tool. And then right here where it intersects the line from the top and then the side line here, I'm going to hold down my shift and I'm going to drag the text box. And then I'm going to let go of my shift and then just go ahead and pull it all out. And then I'm just going to go Command V as in Valentine to paste in the text that I want to adjust here. So what we're going to do next here, and you'll see that it defaulted to 16 point and Myriad Pro because those were the last items that we had selected for this project. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight the trend issue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the character panel, and if it's not showing, just bring it back up. And the settings that they want you to give this one is you're going to give it a 70 point size, and you can see it gets quite a bit bigger. The leading, which is the 2 A's and a little vertical line right here, we're going to actually change this to 55 points. Okay, and then in the tracking, we're going to change to 50. And the color will be white, which was what we selected last too. So that is exactly what we want. Then we're going to select the word trend only. Okay, and we're going to change the font style to bold. Okay, and just kind of makes it stand out a little bit more. So now we formatted the title, and now we're going to go on to format the rest of the text. So in the character panel, what I want you to do is you're going to stick with Myriad Pro. Font style will be regular. So we're going to change this to regular. Okay, whoops, and I need to undo that, Command Z. And what I want to make sure is that I don't have that text layer selected. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect the text. So I'm going to go back to the layer panel, and I'm just going to go ahead and just go back to the model for now. So anyways, I'm going to go back to the character panel, and I'm going to do a font size of 22. And actually, I'm going to select this, the fonts right here. So we're going to change this to 22. We're going to change this to regular. Okay. We want a leading of 28. And we want a tracking of 0.